What's up? Welcome back. Happy Monday. Dr. Jaws here, and tonight we are going to dive back into South Africa to meet the leopard cat shark, Poroderma, or I guess you would say that Poroderma, or Poroderma, pantherinum. So this is going to be a really fun species. It's a very beautiful cat shark species. And I think this clip is actually a puff outer shy shark, but the leopard cat shark appears later. So we're going to take a look at South African waters. There's actually quite a lot of cat shark species that live in this area and that navigate the kelp forest and the rocky reefs and outcroppings. So it's going to be really fun to explore more of this ecosystem and learn how the leopard cat shark fits into it. So let me see if I can fast forward to the leopard cat shark specifically, because this I know that one is a puff adder shy shark, which is a close cousin. It is a kind of cat shark, but the leopard cat shark has these distinctive dark spots on a light beige background. That's another shy shark, which is really cute. I'll let the camera or the video play for the shy shark, because these are actually adorable little sharks. They will hide their eyes with their tail, like they'll curl their tails and make up to cover their eyes and make like a little donut shape if they ever feel threatened. This individual clearly does not feel threatened. He's very inquisitive and happy to follow this diver, which is really fun to see. But let's see if we can get a leopard cat shark in frame. Here's a different kind of cat shark. It's not quite the leopard cat shark. I'm actually not quite sure what this species is, and there's the shy shark in the background. Let's see. We'll try one more time before looking at an actual leopard cat shark clip. But it does show you the biodiversity of the area. Moving even further ahead, I think I saw a pajama shark. Yep. There's a pajama shark, which is another kind of cat shark, and I think pajama sharks are the same genus, Poroderma. Oh, hey, Bruce. Welcome back. Yeah. Looks very relaxed. It's also funny to see the diver backing up. Agreed. So, really fun dive opportunity, to hang out with these sharks. Completely harmless, but just really cool, very unique group. So, hope you had a good weekend, and welcome back for tonight's stream. Let's see. I'm going to hop over, I think, to a specific leopard cat shark clip, and we'll come back to this clip because this is a really cool showcase of the South African kelp forest that leopard cat sharks call home. So this is a pretty cool channel. Nope, no ads. Sorry. There's a pretty cool channel that has this cool montage in the opening, but then it switches immediately to the footage of the shark that we want to meet. This is called Nature Talks. But here is our species, the leopard cat shark. So it has that distinctive pattern on the back. So it has the little, you can't really quite call them rosettes. They are kind of like these like hollow spots. They almost look like jaguar spots, I want to say. But it's a really unique pattern and really cool to see on this very active cat shark. So cat sharks, typically think of them as kind of sluggish. They tend to sit on the seabed and kind of keep to themselves. But this cat shark is quite different, very active hunter. It's really cool to see him going to town with that little fish. Oops. A two-tone fringe fin, so I'm not familiar with this group of fish. But wow, look at this cat shark go. So, very active hunter patrolling the rocky seabed. It's really cool that its body is perfect for getting into these like, little crevices like this. Just very long, narrow, perfect for getting under rocks or between rocks, and finding fish that may be hiding in those areas. Two dorsal fins are set very far back on the body. The back is very smooth. Again, this guy is really active. It's really fun to see this. This is one that was unfortunately hooked, so I think this diver is de-hooking, which is good, and I think kind of helping against rogue hooks left in the water. So we'll kind of rewind to see more of the shark specifically in action to see what we could see behavior-wise. But very prominent nasal barbels, so that you can presume is probably related to being able to amplify prey detection capabilities. So a lot of sharks that have very prominent nasal barbels, it helps them try to find benthic prey. I think depending on the species, there's a higher concentration of ampullae lorenzini in the barbels themselves. Or it could be argued that the barbels help detecting vibrations in the water. All sharks can detect vibrations with their lateral line system, so they can detect any kind of physical movement in the water resonates against the shark's body. Fish have a lateral line too, so but there's an idea that the nasal barbels kind of help amplify that sense. So. And it kind of makes sense. A lot of bottom-dwelling sharks have the nasal barbels. The famous one is like the nurse shark. And that's also a species that spends a lot of its time on the bottom. What's kind of cool is that cat sharks are a completely different order from nurse sharks, but they do look kind of similar. Just like, taking a step back, they both have very smooth backs, dorsal fins set very far back on the body. They both spend a lot of time on the seabed. And they both have this really cool sinusoidal movement, and this cat shark in particular has pretty prominent fins, like really nice angle on the pectoral fins. So compared to body size, fairly large and triangular, pretty large pelvic fins as well, and a pretty big head relative to body size. So I'm excited to learn more about this species' biology. What's especially intriguing is just how active it is. So maybe it's this particular dive encounter of a particularly active leopard cat shark, or maybe it's a characteristic of the species. So, hey Howard, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Bruce, it might be one of its best survival mechanisms, both to hide from secondary predators larger species sharks won't be able to follow. Yes, so the body plan of the species being able to hide into the crevices. So that's a really, really great observation, Bruce. 100%. It's so cool. I always love like sharks that are able to go into like little sea caves or like little rock ledges. It's just, there's something that's so cool about that, where it's like this little corner of the world that is just this usually typically the smaller species of shark will do that, but it's like its little domain. It's just so cool. What's kind of fun too, this might apply to the species, but a reef environment is more structurally complex, and so a lot of like sharks that live in structurally complex environments like coral reefs or like rocky areas that have like layers and layers built upon them, there's a concept that those kinds of sharks have evolved a little bit more, or they have to kind of like process a lot more information as far as like hunting in such an environment. So there's kind of an idea that those kinds of sharks are a little bit more aware of their surroundings, a little bit more active. I shouldn't say more intelligent. I don't know if that would be fair, but what's interesting when you compare to other sharks like basking sharks, which they live at the surface in open water environments where it's not that complex structurally. Basking sharks are said to have proportionally the smallest brains of sharks, whereas sharks that have to navigate more complicated environments, there's a concept that they have like larger brains. Famous one being white shark, where white sharks have to kind of locate seals, and white sharks will do spy hopping, where they will kind of poke their heads out of the water and try to ascertain a seal's location, on the surface, so in a completely different medium. And there's an argument that takes a lot of brain power in order to really effectively do that. And so I guess long story short, sharks that live in complicated environments like reef environments, there's a really cool idea that they may have a little bit more going on as far as like being attuned to their environment and needing to process more information as they navigate these areas, which is really cool. So, but this is a nice clip of a leopard catshark. swimming what looks to be like this really cool temperate reef. I see a lot of sponges. I can't quite tell if some of these are corals or if they're technically other organisms, but I definitely see a lot of sponges in this environment. Because South Africa is a temperate water zone. It's not a tropical area. And true corals need a lot of sunlight, or I should say coral reefs need a lot of sunlight, so they are found in the tropics where there's more solar energy. However, there are temperate corals, but I don't know. I guess there's like deep water temperate reefs, but I don't know if there's like shallow water temperate coral reefs. So this is a pretty interesting environment to just take a look at here. Hope you had a good weekend, Howard. Mine was a little rough. I was visiting family, and they had they were like moving boxes, and one of the boxes had I think like a mold in there or something, so I actually had an allergic reaction to it. So rough weekend. I feel better now, which is good, but completely better. But it was bad news bears. It was a bad news bears weekend. So but happy to be back with the Sharks and with you guys. It's nice to have a Sharky Monday. And to learn of a new species. So, again, it's really cool to come back to South African waters where it's an environment I'm not as familiar with. So it's really cool to see this shark, and then also in that first clip, just this really amazing biodiversity. So we'll play this at full speed and take a full dive into reef sharks of the Cape. Oops. There we go. Sorry about that. Oh, cool. Bruce, spend some time snorkeling and taking care of the fish hatchery. That is awesome. Where did you go snorkeling? That's super cool. So, and speaking of snorkeling, if it was local, the environment would look something kind of like this. Like just if it was local to Pacific Northwest, similar-ish kind of habitat as far as like beautiful kelp forests. I feel like there's more. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on the area. I feel like this area in South Africa has a little bit more like rock and sponge features, whereas I feel like Pacific Northwest, kind of has more kelp, but there's still so many areas I've not seen. But even so, it's just such a cool snorkel opportunity. Like I think coral reefs and kelp forests are some of like the most exciting places to do any kind of diving or snorkeling, just because they're so like unique and like the kelp forests I think have like a cool like mysterious quality. Like you never know what's around the corner, and I think there's something so appealing about that. It's fun to be diving with this little shark right here. Oh, cool. Bruce, Mill Lake, it's a little bass filled spot. Awesome. Yeah, freshwater diving is pretty fun. Where I like especially like deep quarries where you're not worried about anything big in there, but it's still kind of like this cool ominous thing. I think the deepest I've ever dove was about. Is it really 45 feet? I think it was 45 feet in Lake Phoenix in Southern Virginia. So, and that was a cool experience where there was a clear thermocline. So it's nice and warm and 70 degrees in the surface, and then once you cross the thermocline, it's like in the 60s, maybe 50s. So, oh, this is cool. Look at this. These are two cat sharks meeting. So the one on the right is a shy shark. The one on the left, I'm not sure. I mean, I might cop out and say it's a white-spotted cat shark, but I'm not 100% sure if that's accurate because I'm not as familiar with South African shark species. But it's so cool to see these two sharks just lying side by side, seemingly pretty okay with each other. Just completely different species, but occupying a similar space, just lying close to the seafloor. This is a really cool encounter, actually, and both of them not really minding the diver, which is kind of wild. Really nice comparison of, they're both cat sharks, but it's a really nice comparison of how different cat sharks can look. And cat sharks as a collection is really fun. Where I mean, there's almost, I want to say there's almost 100 species of cat shark, and each one has a different set of colors, a different set of like habitat requirements. A lot of them are deep water, but you get some beautiful shallow water species like these guys. So it's a really fun group. That fish has a really bad parasite on it. There is the pajama shark again, famously featured in Blue Planet 2, and I think this one's actually a favorite of a lot of modern Shark Week specials. Like, pajama sharks are really fun. They're very cute. They have such a distinctive stripy pattern. They are a little bit beefier than other kinds of cat sharks, or like the head looks a little bit blockier. And what's kind of fun is like these sharks have an interesting battle with octopi. So octopuses and these sharks will kind of interact with each other, where these sharks will try to hunt octopuses, but octopuses are just very smart and come up with these ingenious defense mechanisms to escape these sharks. So, for example, and I think Blue Planet covered this, but octopuses can like build themselves a suit of armor, if you will, out of seashells in the seafloor. Like, they will stick with their tentacles into the inside of the shells and like protect themselves. Ooh, this is a cool shark. This is not a cat shark. This one is a smooth hound. And I forget if South Africa has the gray smooth hound or the gray nurse hound, but this is definitely a smooth hound. It's a bit of a larger animal. The two dorsal fins are... The first one is further up on the body, and it's a lot more prominent. It's a beautiful animal. So this is kind of like a cool intermediary step between a cat shark and a requiem shark. It's somewhere in the middle where, you know, a little bit of a larger animal, probably goes after more so fish. A lot of them have teeth very specially adapted for crushing shells, for shellfish. But it's so cool to see this larger shark kind of swimming a little bit higher in the water column. You know, not quite on the seabed like the cat sharks, but just kind of like, you know, hovering just a little bit above as it's searching for prey or just kind of navigating the kelp forest. So it's such a beautiful environment. Love seeing this little school of silvery fish. And I think that was it for that clip. We've got some more footage before we dive into the species. Oh, Bruce, I actually had some largemouth bass follow me to eat the smaller minnows that got spooked when I moved along. That is so cool. Oh, that's such a fun dive encounter. It's so cool. So I just saw that comment. I think we had some kind of bass in Lake Rawlings, but I can't remember what it was, if it was the largemouth or the smallmouth. We definitely had bluegill, and it was bluegill, when we went, it was bluegill mating season, so they had their like little nests, these little kind of bowl-shaped nests, and I made the mistake of getting too close to one, and I didn't even notice that I was getting so close, but like bluegill was definitely like up in my face and like bit me a couple times. Which it's fun to see like how brave fish are. Like, you know, when you're diving, it's often not like, sharks are usually completely fine. It's usually like the little fishies that are the problem, you know. Nope, don't want an ad. Yeah. So leopard catshark. This is kind of cool. So this is dive footage of leopard catsharks sleeping together in a little crevice, and from the looks of it, it could be the footage quality, but it almost looks like the color palette is lighter, because in the first couple clips we saw leopard catsharks with a more of a grayish tone, and here we see leopard catsharks with more of a beige tone, so kind of more of a cream color. And I actually think it's the actual shark. I don't think it's the footage now, with this individual kind of swimming into the open. So, and I actually really love this patternation, and this very clearly shows you how it got its name. It looks like the current is kind of strong, and the shark is kind of like repositioning itself relative to it. This is a female, and She is going back into this little crevice, kind of wriggling her way in, which is very cute. There's another cat shark next to her. And it's funny that it looks like there is a really strong current because it just kind of lifted her entire body through the crevice in the back. So we'll replay for a better view. So it's so interesting to see such a large group of sharks just huddled together. These would be really cool sharks to do like social studies on, as far as like kind of understanding their behavior and what their social dynamics are. Some sharks, like, you know, as strange as it sounds, because we know that sharks don't have the same kind of, you know, intelligence as marine mammals, but some sharks do exhibit social behavior. They do have, for example, like hierarchies. So bonnethead sharks actually will have a social hierarchy where large females will dominate the school, and other bonnetheads will defer to them. Sharks exhibit a variety of behaviors when they're together. So some of it can be circling or tailing, where a shark will follow another shark nose to tail. And we don't exactly know why they do that. Some of it is the yielding behavior, so two sharks will be on a collision course towards each other, and one will yield to the other. Some of them will have the aggression or the agonistic behavior, so they will arch their fins or swim in a very exaggerated way, which is a warning before they make an aggressive pass. They swim a little bit more quickly and you know, take a bite sometimes. So, but there's actually there's been a few behavioral studies done on sharks where you do see patterns emerge in terms of how they interact with each other and how they relate to other organisms. And so it's really cool to see. So I'd love to do a study on this species, just because, you know, it spends so much time with members of the same species in such close proximity. It looks like just from this clip, it looks like we're just lounging around, which is like a pretty fun life to have, just chilling out under the sea. Unfortunately, no, I had too much scuba gear on. So it didn't break skin. I don't think I've ever had a fish break skin. I've been bit by multiple fish, but I don't think any of them have drawn blood or anything. The only time I've ever had something cut me was, believe it or not, like barnacles. Those things are razor sharp. And oysters too. Oysters and barnacles. You know, you wouldn't think it because they're just so common and they're seemingly innocent. But if you rub up against an oyster or a barnacle the wrong way, it will absolutely cut you. Like, they're really, really sharp. And I think the reason that they're sharp is something to do with they're being so well adapted to the marine environment. I think it's something to do with like helping with water viscosity or something. But yeah, they're both razor sharp. So that's the only time I've ever been cut underwater is by an oyster or a barnacle, just accidentally passing too closely by it. And then as far as like fish, I've been rushed by it's all the little ones like sergeant majors, bluegills, sheep's head biting my hair because they find it interesting. So nothing really dangerous. I would say probably I don't think I've ever had a dangerous encounter. But I will say I've had risky encounters. So both with rays, which is like not good. One time I was snorkeling in Florida and I was in a seagrass bed and I was just like having a really fun time and like, you know, kind of like plunging into the water, you know, just like, you know, popping up and being like, oh, this is awesome, and then like taking a nice plunge, you know, just rushing forward, you know, just excited to get back in and see something. And I plunged into the path of a small stingray. So like I plunged and spooked a stingray in front of me, and he immediately swam away. Nothing bad happened, but it was like, oh, that was a really bad mistake. That's really stupid because, all stingrays have the barb, and so that just was really bad. So unfortunately nothing happened, but that was a risky thing. And then I had in Virginia in Kipta Peak. I was swimming or snorkeling one time, and Kipta Peak's visibility is kind of temperamental. So sometimes it's very clear, which is awesome. Sometimes it's like kind of murky, which is a little unnerving. And I was swimming in slightly deeper water, and just out of the shadows, a huge cownose ray, a pretty good size. And it just caught me by surprise because I was kind of, just swimming forward, and then, this big brown shape just appeared out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, it just scared me because I fortunately I knew what it was, but it scared me because it was like, oh, I was not expecting that. The visibility just wasn't great that day. So, but fortunately, no incidents, nothing really bad. Actually, I did tell my fiance this story recently where, I was swimming in the York River in Virginia, which is very murky and does have bull sharks. It is a river system that does have them, and it's really rare. It's very unlikely that you'll run into one. But one time I was swimming with a friend in that river, and my friend was in front of me and I was behind them, and I could feel the sensation of something like kicking my legs. If you kind of remember, if you ever, as a kid, played in a pool where it's like a small community pool where it's like you're swimming, you're accidentally bumping into people, and just that feeling of your legs getting tangled with someone else. I had that feeling in the York River, and I was like, wait a minute, my friend is in front of me, so what in the world is bumping me right now? It was so scary. It was so scary because I could not see it at all. I have no idea what it was. It just felt big. It was something between my legs. It just freaked me the heck out. Looking back, it probably was like a ray or a striped bass or something. It probably really wasn't a big deal. But the fact that that there's bull sharks in that river, it just I'm never doing that again. That just my rule now is just the viz has to be good. I have to see where I'm going, before I do anything like that. So that was that. Those were the stories as far as goofy things, but nothing really exciting. Nothing really, And we want to keep it that way. We want no incidents. So, but we'll take a look at a new clip. Sorry, story time. I had that clip on repeat. So let's take a look at if this is. It looks like it's the same group. But that was a cute shot head on of the leopard catshark. There we go. So this is another leopard catshark, but this is kind of more of the gray morph. So a little bit of a darker backdrop to those beautiful spots. I guess you can't call them rosettes. The barbels are out very prominently. This is such a great showcase of the eyes too. All sharks have these gorgeous eyes. I feel like shallow water sharks tend to have these beautiful golden bronzy eyes, whereas deep water sharks often have the big green reflective eyes. And this shark is just it looks like it has gemstones for eyes. It's so beautiful. So what a treat to be able to get so close to this animal and just take a look at just having the permission to get so close, and the shark is not bothered. It seems okay. It's just relaxing on a seabed. I will say, camera-wise, the diver is doing something that you shouldn't really do, which is they're not providing an exit for the shark. So by facing it like this, the shark doesn't have an exit, and that's probably not ideal. And this goes for all animals. If you are encountering wildlife of any kind, you really want to make sure that you don't get directly in front of them, so that you can kind of create that space where they have an exit path. This is especially true for snakes, especially venomous snakes. They need some kind of exit in order to not get into a defensive mode. So, and this shark, it's kind of cool to see at the end of the clip, it does take that exit, where maybe it just felt a little bit uncomfortable facing down a diver. So, just like fun wildlife tip as far as encounters with wildlife. So. But yeah, just beautiful, beautiful footage. Spiracles right behind the eyes. Kind of makes sense for a bottom-dwelling shark. Spiracles seem to be a little bit larger too. Love how that tail curls. I think we have 2 more clips before we dive into some more research. I wonder what this is. Kind of really rough looking footage here. It almost looks like very old footage. Oh, this is cool. So this is a leopard catshark. So zooming in, you can see it looks like it's filtered through this one color, but you can see distinctly the rosettes. And I feel like in all of these clips, even for the leopard catsharks that are just chilling out on the bottom, when they move from location to location, they look so active. Okay. One more clip, and then we'll start diving into the research of the species. So, oops. So, nice little dive in a kelp forest. I actually might have those fins, by the way. Those scuba pro fin. Not those. Those are actually nice fins, though. The long ones that he has. But somebody had those blue scuba pro fins, and those are the same fins that I have. So I'll point them out if I see them again. But yeah, it's so cool just imagining like meandering through a kelp forest, you know, not knowing what's around the corner. Worst thing you could see, I don't know if white sharks go inside kelp forests. I know they're around them, but I don't know if they actually go into them. Leave a comment, either current or future viewers, if you know that whether or not white sharks enter kelp forest. I feel like they don't, but I'm not 100% sure. It makes sense for them to, just because seals like to be in them, but... so that's probably the most frightening thing to see. Those and the seven-gill sharks, those 2 sharks are probably the most frightening to see in a kelp forest. But you have all this like beauty and all this like, you know, wonder in terms of like the amount of animals that you can see. And again, such a unique environment. You're just like, you know, drifting through these fronds and these beautiful like towers of kelp. It's just so cool. Love seeing the palette too of the rock ledges. So these oranges and purples. Lots of echinoderms, so sea urchin, starfish, that's a sea anemone it almost looks like, so that's a cnidarian, so that's not an echinoderm, but sea anemones, starfish, oh, there's a leopard catshark, here we go. So leopard catshark hiding in the frond of kelp, really great to see it, kind of going through these crevices, past purple sea urchins, a green, or kind of like yellowish-green sea anemone. Oh, diver touched the shark. The shark did not like that. Shark opened its mouth very briefly. Yeah, this diver is harassing the shark. You shouldn't be doing that. I know it looks playful and fun, but just you know, respect sharks. Don't touch them. They do not like that. If they come up to you for pets, that's great. But otherwise, just keep them. Just leave them alone. These rock ledges are so cool. And these fish are, I mean, it's fun. I really love the colors of like temperate fish, where they're a little bit more subtle than tropical fish, but there's a lot of beauty to still appreciate. So I'm always going to be a temperate person, just like a temperate zone person. That's my place. So just because I like that the temperate fish just kind of, you know, they have their colors, but they're just a little bit more subdued, a little bit more like I shouldn't say humble because that's really dumb, but like it's just I like the subtleties, the subtle nuances of their appearance is just very appealing to me. That looks like a anemone that's retracted. Oh, and the end. So I guess like they just had the one cat shark. And then, sorry, these are the fins I wanted to point out. I actually have those fins. Those are really great. The Scuba Pro fins are really great for direction. So they have like excellent directional control. So I have black fins, but yeah. Howard, absolutely, 100%. No animal likes to feel cornered. So I'm gonna star that because that's absolutely right. So I think what we'll do is we'll take a look, starting with Florida Museum of Natural History. And we'll kind of go from there as far as learning what we can learn about the leopard catshark. And let me see if I can rearrange this so that it's a better view. Let's see. Okay, cool. Alright, leopard catshark. Oh, I love that, Bruce. Leave nothing, I'm going to star that too. Leave nothing but bubbles, take nothing but photos. 100%. One thing that I really appreciate about the diving community is there is, at least with like very good scuba schools, there is a active message of like, of exactly what you said, Bruce. Like, leave nothing but bubbles, take nothing but photos. There's a very active message of like, we are privileged to be able to experience this environment, and so we have to respect it, and it's up to us to be conservation stewards. So make sure that you don't damage the environment. The big one is buoyancy. So a lot of like new divers have trouble getting their buoyancy right, where they're either floating or sinking. And what they do, if their buoyancy is kind of screwy, is they will go up and down, and when they're heading down, they'll like hit the seafloor. And you think about how sensitive some seabeds are, where they have like corals and anemones and worms and just so, like there's sensitive habitats that if you just keep hitting the seabed, you just kind of like churn it up and like maybe knock something down, and it's like it's not what you want to do. So if you have neutral buoyancy, like perfect buoyancy, you get to hover effortlessly above everything and just kind of slowly go forward. And it's like perfect buoyancy is like a goal of divers as far as just like being a good diver, but as far as like having the technical skill, but it's also a goal in terms of like being respectful to the marine environment. And I really appreciate that there's an active focus on that, where there's a responsibility to just respect the space that you're entering into, and having a respect for nature. So I will say dive schools do a good job communicating that message, and some divers don't do a good job following it, but I think most divers do. I think most divers are very ego conscious, which I really appreciate. So it's a cool community. Let's see. So leopard catshark. I'm pleasantly surprised it's on the Florida Museum of Natural History, so great starting point for sharks. Here we go. This nocturnal catshark is found in the warmer coastal waters off of southern Africa, usually sleeping around the rocky reefs during the day and hunting crustaceans and small bony fish at night. Common names are the leopard catshark, the barbel catshark, and the black-spotted catshark. In Afrikaans, it's Luiperd-kathaai, or Swartkol-kathaai. I won't attempt to read some of these other ones, except for the Spanish one. The Alitan Leopardo that's a really fun name. So, beautiful shot of a leopard catshark here. Let's see. Ooh, Howard, I think I've seen footage of an adult white shark in the California kelp forest. Interesting. That's really freaky. Like, prey-wise, it makes sense for white sharks to enter that environment, but it's so scary to think about. So interesting. I have to check that clip out. Let's see. Leopard cat sharks live near or on the bottom substrate within warm temperate waters. It prefers rocky reef habitats from the intertidal zone to depths of 256 meters. It is a nocturnal shark, meaning it is most active during the nighttime hours. Biology. This shark has a stocky and compressed body, tapering considerably to the caudal fin. The barbels of the anterior nasal flaps are quite long, usually reaching the mouth. The dorsal fins are positioned posteriorly. The second dorsal fin is much smaller than the first dorsal fin. I would say they're kind of not too different in size, but let's see. Coloration. The most striking thing about this shark is its leopard-like coloration, which gives rise to its common name. The highly variable coloration pattern consists of black spots, rings, and lines arranged in horizontal rows on a gray to pale background. The ventral surface of the leopard catshark is white. Oh, this is cool. This photo is actually really fun. This is by Doug Perrine, and for me personally, this is a famous photo that was in a couple shark books that I had growing up. So I do recognize this photo. It's really fun to see it again. Doug Perrine is a really great shark photographer. One of the I shouldn't say classics, but like one of the staples of shark photography. So this is a lovely shot that he got of this leopard cat shark, and it's really cool to see that the color in the background is brown. So we have like a gray morph, a beige morph, and a brown morph. So. There we go. Wait a minute. I literally said that without reading this. Here we go. 3 different color morphs exist within the species. The typical pantherinum coloration consists of lines and rings of spots. In contrast, the 2 extreme coloration forms consist of the Marlii coloration, which has large dark spots and was at one time considered an entirely separate species, and the salt and pepper coloration that has densely spaced black spots. In addition, intermediates between these 2 extreme coloration patterns are very common. Let's see. Bruce, one of the greats. Yeah, I think Doug has done prominent work. So I would say Andy Merck is probably the best shark photographer, but I feel like Doug has created a lot of really great pieces as far as shark photography. And then we also have Nick Kalianis is a pretty prominent shark photographer and a videographer. So I'll just put their names here. So shark photographers. Let's see, Andy Merck, Doug Perrine, Nick. I'm gonna mess up his name. Kalianis. I think that's how you spell his last name. There's one more that I'm trying to remember, who's very high up there, and I cannot remember what their name is. Shoot, I have to get back in terms of like, man, who? There, I know there's like another shark photographer who has contributed a lot. I have to put a pin in that. Let me know if you guys know any shark photographers. Please leave a comment, because I'm curious who else there is. Because like we have like shark artists, like we talked about them before, like Mark Dando, Val Kells. Who else? I feel like there's another one I'm missing actually. So, but yeah, Andy, Doug, and Nick are all great. I there's one more that I'll have to figure out. So once we like, if it comes to me, I'll leave a comment. But if you guys know any other shark photographers, please leave them in the chat, because I'd love to learn more. So. Max reported length for a male leopard cat shark is 85 centimeters or 33 inches. So kind of a smaller size of shark. Leopard cat shark feeds on small bony fishes, crustaceans, octopi, and polychaete worms. Lays eggs. I'm kind of curious if they're like all cat sharks or most cat sharks is an egg-laying shark. Kind of curious if there's any description about what the eggs look like. Predators. The seven-gill shark, Nordorhynchus sepidianus, is a documented predator of the leopard cat shark. which makes sense. So that large 7-gill shark that we have seen a couple clips of, and I think we did a special on, or a stream on. It makes sense that it's a predator of the leopard cat shark, because this is the same species that is very inquisitive of divers, and sometimes kind of bumps into them, and sometimes takes curiosity bites. So kind of makes sense that it's a shark-eating species. Other potential predators include large fish, such as sharks, as well as marine mammals. Let's see. So, nice little overview from Florida Museum of Natural History. But I think we could, speaking of shark photography, hop on over to Andy Merck's website, Sharks and Rays, to learn more and see some really cool photographs of the leopard cat shark. Oh, cool. The leopard cat shark, so this is kind of another approach to describing how it has 3 distinct patterns. So leopard cat shark has gray dorsal surface with regionally distinct patterns. East London is bold, leopard-like dark spots with light centers. Port Elizabeth is complex pattern of fine reticulations in a leopard-like pattern. And then Western Cape, bold, vaguely leopard-like or solid spots that often form longitudinal lines. So here we go. So this is one pattern. Let's see. Based on the description, I want to say that's an East London leopard cat shark. It says bold, leopard-like dark spots with light centers. So I'm going to guess that's an East London version of the leopard cat shark. So it's so cool to see, like, there's variations within the same species. It's almost kind of like dogs, where, you know, there's such variety of dogs. This one is very different looking, so this looks a lot more intricate. So this, I'm going to assume, is the Port Elizabeth complex pattern of fine reticulations in a leopard-like pattern. So it's really cool. This is an East London leopard cat shark morph and a Port Elizabeth leopard cat shark morph. Conservation status is least concern, so it's really great to see that the species is doing very well. Leopard cat shark is a bycatch component of longline, gillnet, beach seine, trawl, and commercial and recreational line fisheries. Trawl fishing effort in South Africa has decreased over the past 2 decades. Shoreline fishing has also decreased as a result of a 2002 South African ban on all-terrain vehicles on beaches. Okay. So that's actually really great. It's so interesting because let me read that again. Shoreline fishing has also decreased as a result of a 2002 South African ban on all-terrain vehicles on beaches. So what's interesting about that is I'm assuming they mean actual ATVs. I'm curious if they mean anything like cars. And the reason I say that is I know in the mid-Atlantic region of the United States, there's a lot of beaches that you can drive on. There's strict areas in terms of like how you use them. You can't drive on every beach, but there are parts of the Outer Banks that you can drive on. There's parts of Virginia Beach. Actually, let me think about that. There's definitely parts of the Outer Banks you could drive on. I don't think you actually can drive in Virginia Beach. You can drive in Assateague in Maryland. But you have to be very specific in terms of like where you're entering. There's a designated area that you can drive onto, and you have to do a lot of stuff actually in order to do it. You have to like deflate the air in your tires to get the traction and blah blah blah. But I'm kind of curious if I just think it's so interesting that if this ban refers to any kind of vehicle, and if so, it'd be kind of interesting to think about if that's a possibility for areas that currently have the ability to drive on the beach, what the impact would be if we, kind of implemented a ban as well, if that helps the nearby habitat or helps decrease fishing in the nearby water. So kind of interesting stuff. Catch data indicates that the overall the leopard cat shark population is stable or increasing. So gorgeous shot of the Port Elizabeth morph of the leopard catshark, beautifully framed, just sitting right there at this little peak of the reef. It's so cool. Habitat: a temperate water species found in rocky reefs, kelp forests, caves, and mixed sand and rock. Intertidal to at least 274 meters. Usually shallower than 20 meters. Interesting. So it likes to stick to the shallows. Leopard catshark has a small range on the southern coast of South Africa, found in Saldanha Bay on the Western Cape, eastwards to KwaZulu-Natal. It's possibly reproductively active all year. That probably helps its conservation status too. Oh, sorry, so many comments just popped up, and I think it might be a delay on my end. In South Africa, many poor fishermen use ATVs and dirt bikes to move nets and catch this. Oh, I see. Okay, so thank you, Bruce. So in South Africa, many poor fishermen use ATVs and dirt bikes to move nets and catch this ban. Shut that down. Gotcha. Not to mention lack of noise pollution, or less risk of oil contamination. Yes, for any kind of vehicle ban. So, and Howard, 100% agree. Amazing patternation. Love the complexities here. As far as like this beautiful pattern of this morph of shark. So I'm kind of curious. I'm sure Andy has a photo of the third morph. I'm very, very curious to see it. So. Behavior: mostly nocturnal, rests in crevices and caves during the day. Reaction to divers: fairly easy to approach when resting on the reef. Extremely bold but not aggressive in baited situations. Diving logistics: although not quite as common as the closely related pajama shark, the leopard catshark can be encountered at many rocky or kelpy dive sites from False Bay to East London. At Miller's Point on the west end of Simonstown, divers are likely to see one or two Poroderma pantherinum among the other catshark species that are abundant there. False Bay is one of the stops on Big Fish Expedition's South African Endemic Shark and Ray Expedition. So definitely want to check that out. Okay, so I'm going to make sure this is loaded, and we'll take a deeper dive into that. Want to see Andy's photos. This one's interesting. Okay, so this pattern is extremely interesting. This might be the final one because it's so like indistinct. So this one actually might be the third morph. Go back to the first photo. So this is the first morph where you have the bold leopard spots with the light center. Great photo. This I think is the third morph because it's a little bit indistinct and it makes kind of a line. It's so cool to see the variation of these animals. Ooh, this one's tricky. I think this is this is really tricky actually. This I want to say is the second morph because it has intricate patterns on the dorsal side, but then, yeah, 100% Howard, crazy variation. Because on the sides here, this almost looks like the first morph because it's the hollow centers for the dark rings, but then it's all arranged in a line, so that's like the third morph. So this one is a little tricky. It's so cool to see the patterns. I love the variety, even within just a single species. This one I think is similarly... This actually might be the third morph because they did say that the third morph has the spots arranged in lines, so I think that's a distinctive characteristic of that last morph. Same individual likely, so it's really cool to see different angle of the shark. Such a beautiful species. Love the kind of the prominence of the snout, the golden eyes. I also really like that, you know, there's this kind of like point here, this like this crescent, if you will, that like starts right here above the sphericals and then widens into these like this like little gray patch kind of widens as we go further down the body. It's so pretty. This is a different individual, but I think it's still the third morph because the spots are arranged in a line. Oh, Howard, are these morphs based on DNA? Great question. So, um, maybe we'll find some research tonight that points in that direction. But I will say, there's a fun little trick that um, one of my mentors at VIMS taught me, which it sounds really dumb, but it's like, oh, that makes sense. It's really cool. And it's that phenotype can reflect genotype. So if you see, like, this is actually a really great example that as you see the physical manifestation of these different morphs, it is suggestive that the DNA is different between these three groups. So, like, if the genetic code is like a little bit different, it's going to produce different results. And so, phenotype, like, basically there's a marriage between phenotype and genotype, where the phenotype that you see is indicative, likely, that there's something going on with the genotype, where, you know, this might be genetically linked. It probably is, honestly. It's not a hard and fast rule, and it's kind of like the curse of biology. Like, no rule is completely, like, unbreakably law, because there's so many other elements that can affect physical appearance, like just environmental, like effects of the environment, and how it can trigger different physical qualities. But I think in the case of these morphs, I do think that the morphs are probably genetically linked. You know, because like in this kind of example, phenotype is typically in harmony with genotype. Like the phenotype that you're seeing, the physical attributes you're seeing, is kind of a mirror of what's going on genetically. So I'm going to assume yes, it's based on DNA, but we'll find out. We'll take a look as we learn more about the research tonight for the species. Oh man, this one is so cool. Look at this one. So, it's not even leopard spots anymore. It's not even like the rosettes. You know, oh yes, have a 100% available diet. Actually, on that note, that's a great example of that would be like flamingos. Flamingos eat brine shrimp, which are bright red, and that's how flamingos develop their pink colorations, because they're eating a diet off of brine shrimp. Flamingos are born white, but as they keep eating and eating brine shrimp, they slowly ingest like and absorb the colors, and they become pink, which is kind of cool. Yeah, sorry, I got so excited about this individual leopard catshark where it doesn't even have like the spots anymore. It's like these like bars, these blotches. It's not like the jaguar spots. It's like actual polka dots. Is so interesting. Or I guess not polka dots, but it's actual like blotchy leopard spots. This might be the same individual. This one looks a little smaller too, so I wonder if this is... I'm actually really curious if maybe throughout life the color pattern changes a little bit. Tiger sharks do that, where tiger sharks start out with... I always get this confused. They start out with spots, and then they grow into stripes. Yeah. So, and that, I mean, there's actually a lot of sharks that do that. Zebra sharks will start out with stripes, like black and white stripes, and then they'll grow into spots. So, yeah. The green glowing eye, yes, 100%. It's so cool. And actually, that's a good point, Howard, where this individual's eyes are kind of this lovely pale cobalt blue color. Well, maybe not cobalt, but like this pale tealish, I shouldn't say blue, like this pale teal color, which is different because I was talking about how the shark has like golden eyes earlier, so it's kind of cool to see this like nice like almost like green marbly color in the eyes. It's so pretty. Such a cool shark. And yet here's another individual, slightly different, and that looks a little bit more golden. Love how the shark... Look at this environment. This is such a masterpiece where the shark is swimming over these mussels, and then in between, it looks like these bright, like like orange red or red orange sponges. And then intermittent, you see sea urchins, purple urchins, some algae, some like pink sponges, yellow sponges. It's such an incredible tapestry. It's a beautiful environment. Then here's, I think, the first morph again. So beige coloration, clear hollow centers in the spots. So it's incredible to see the varieties of leopard cat. And there's look at that. There's the second morph, just this incredibly complex, like just this honeycomb pattern of spots. It's so cool. Such a cool animal. So many varieties. I think that was one of the photos that we saw earlier. Such an amazing, beautiful creature. Look at that. Oh man, but this is one of the prettiest sharks we've ever reviewed. So Leopard Catshark, it's really a marvel. There's that first morph again. Second morph. It's so cool, kind of like seeing the differences. It's really fun. Second morph, which is like the really complex patterns. A second morph, pretty porky one too. This individual looks kind of chunky, so probably well fed. Looks like a female individual too, so cool. Potentially pregnant, but hard to tell. I mean, there was one in one of the earlier clips. There was a female that looked kind of like the stomach looked a little bit distended, but it's hard to tell. I'm not as familiar as far as like smaller shark species, so. But very well could be, since they do apparently lay eggs year-round. So. I love this pattern. It's so cool. Yes, Howard, I definitely agree. I think the second morph is my favorite too. Like it's such a really beautiful, remarkable pattern. It'd be really fun to draw. Speaking of which, I'm making progress on my bull shark drawing. So I don't know if you could see it if I showed it like this, but let's see. So I probably honestly should airdrop it. Well, actually, maybe I can airdrop it. Let's see. But I'm very proud of it because it's been a while since I used to do like a lot of shark drawings, and it's been a while since I've gotten back into it. But this is the most accurate bull shark I've ever done, as far as like the proportions are right, like the shape is right, the size of it is right. Because I think I've kind of rushed through other drawings before and I kind of like eyeball it, but this one I took a lot of time with. So hopefully it will appear so I can kind of show it off. Any second now. He's coming. Oh, nice photo. Oh, there we go. Okay, there he is. So I'll try to zoom out so we can get like the full effect. But this is my bull shark, which I'm very proud of, honestly. It's tricky to kind of get it right as far as the dorsal fin shape. It's kind of this interesting shape where it's like it's prominent, kind of like the classic shark fin, but it has a bit more of a rounded top. And then try to find the right position of it versus the pectoral fin insertion. Trying to capture that girth, you know, just like the chonkiness of bull sharks. So I'm very happy with it. So just wanted to show this has been my latest little project. The coloration too, I'm happy with just kind of getting the shading the right way, because bull sharks do have a white flank, like they have, or a flank stripe. So it's kind of cool to like get that in there. So yeah. That's my bull. So. But we'll take more time. I think we have a couple more photographs of Annie Merck's, or Annie Merck photographs of the leopard catshark. Didn't mean to kind of throw that off. Oh shoot. There we go. Okay. I think there was like one more pale one. There we go. Perfect. Just wanted to show this, just because it's such a beautiful shot of the species. So, super, super cool. And that's it. So, yeah, and that was the whole collection that we went through. So let's check out, there's this website that they were referring to as far as diving opportunities with the species. Here we go. So, South African Endemic Shark Photography Expedition, the ultimate opportunity to photograph all of South Africa's endemic shark species. Okay, there we go. So just want to make sure it's hitting the full screen. So we've got this lovely photo of a hold on. There we go. Lovely photo of a 6-gill shark. So this is the same, or sorry, 7-gill shark. This is the same kind of 7-gill shark that unfortunately eats the leopard cat shark. It also is a little bit hazardous, like something that looks innocent enough, but is actually a shark that you don't want to be too close to. But really great photo of a 7-gill shark. If you're a serious shark fan and want to photograph as many sharks as possible, we're running a very special South African endemic shark diving expedition. This expedition will start on the Indian Ocean side of South Africa in East London. From there, we'll move to Port Elizabeth. Oh, cool, Howard. I just saw your comment. I'm debating about changing from pencil crayon to marker for a smoother look. That's a really cool idea. I think you should go for it. I highly encourage experimenting for your art, because your current creations are awesome. They're really cool looking. But I always think it's fun to kind of hybridize or kind of play with different material. I used to make a lot more shark art, and I had a lot of fun mixing color pencils, crayons, paints, markers, pastels, just digital art. Like mixing it is a lot of fun. So I think it would be cool. I think it'll be kind of fun to do. At least try 1 or 2 species. They'll be really cool to try, and let me know. Please share with the channel too. How it turns out. So we'd love to see it. So, let's see. The expedition will start in the Indian Ocean side of South Africa in East London. From there, we will move to Port Elizabeth and then finish the trip in False Bay of the Western Cape. At each location, we will conduct chummed reef dives to photograph all 6 species of cat sharks, plus ragged-tooth or sand tiger sharks, spotted gully sharks, bronze whaler sharks, enormous 7-gill sharks, plus taupe sharks, blue sharks, and makos. It's so cool. Bruce, OceanX needs art as well. Very cool. This trip will include 4 days of diving in the Western Cape because of the sheer... Oh, wow. Yeah, I would really love to do a sculpture. It's so cool. Oh, wow, Bruce. I was on their YouTube page and they said they needed a digital artist. That is awesome. Howard, you should try. That would be really cool. Oh my gosh. I think Roy, depending on how they, the definition of digital, I think Roy has done, he has a 3D model of a great white on his channel, which I saw this a year ago, I think, and it really blew me away. So, but yeah, that's so cool that OceanX needs some digital art. So I definitely encourage Howard. You should definitely submit something or check it out. And I'll if Roy hops on, should tell him that too, because that's a really cool opportunity. This trip will include 4 days of diving in the Western Cape because of the sheer abundance and diversity of shark species in the area. In False Bay alone, we've probably counted leopard catsharks, pajama sharks, puffer shy sharks, dark shy sharks. I don't think I've heard of that one. Spotted gully sharks, broad-gill 7-gill sharks, and tiger cat sharks. We'll also spend a day offshore diving sharks and makos. You'll be staying in lodges. This will be real expedition diving into the wildest places on the planet. This trip is a long way to consider adventure. So here we go. Look at sharks, guys. So there's a 7-gill shark. There is a sand tiger, the ragged-tooth shark. We've got the puffer shark here. The leopard cat shark here. It's so cool. The pajama shark. We've got the blue shark. Actually, you know what? I think maybe these are all different. Because this is a puff adder shy shark, so this might be a different kind of cat shark. So I'm not actually familiar with what this species is. This looks like a taupe shark. This one, I'm not 100% sure what it is. Should probably go on this expedition. Here is a spotted gully shark. And then, of course, there is a mako. So, that almost, I assume it's a short fin mako, but it almost looks like a long fin mako. The fins look pretty long on that shark. Diving with all South Africa's accessible sharks, and some that are really usually completely inaccessible. So this can happen in 2027. Oh my gosh, Andy Merck is a leader. That's so cool. It's very expensive. For what you get, probably definitely worth it. But yeah, wow, like literally almost like 10,000 US dollars. That's wild. But worth it probably as far as like the amount of sharks that you get to see. You got this gorgeous sand tiger shark here. You got some 2028 trips. Leopard catshark here. Yeah, what is included? So, okay, accommodations. Comfortable hotels or lodges in East London, Port Elizabeth, and False Bay. Experienced open water divers only. So it sounds like you need advanced open water. Conditions. Oh, wow, this is going to be really cold. So water temperature is 13 to 18 degrees Celsius. 7 millimeter wetsuit recommended. So for comparison, a normal wetsuit is 3 millimeters. 5 millimeters is what I have, and it's good for cold. It's good for cold-ish water, but you get kind of quirky. Like your buoyancy kind of increases the more oh, Howard, sorry, you could see a snaggletooth. Oh, really cool. In that area. That's a really good point. It's so cool. That would be worth it, actually. That would be really worth it. But for wetsuits, the more layers you put on, the warmer you are, but also the more buoyant you are. So you eventually kind of turn into a cork, and it's very hard to weight yourself down into a dive. So I have a 5 millimeter wetsuit. It's super comfy. I love it, but I can feel the corkness where like I need more weights. So 7 millimeters is it must be super cold down there. So because I think 7 might start to get uncomfortable actually, as far as just trying to make sure you're well weighted and everything. Water visibility 3 to 30 meters. What's included? 10 nights. It's a 10-night trip. Airport transfers. It's so interesting. 9 days of baited dives. Weights and tanks. Breakfast at the hotel. Pack lunches. Yeah, it's super expensive. Oh, not included. Flights, dinners, alcohol, dive gear, crew, gratuities. Very expensive. Totally worth it, but very expensive. It's super cool though. I'm just here for the photos, taking a look at all these like really cool sharks of South Africa. And it's a nice showcase of their biodiversity too. Oh, what a shot! Look at this giant 7-gill shark here. Pajama shark or pajama cat shark here. I want to say that is this is definitely a shy shark. I think that is the puff adder shy shark. Sand tiger or ragged tooth shark, so critically endangered species. Oops. The leopard catshark, so our shark for tonight. Spotted gully shark, which is a kind of smooth hound. This one I'm not as familiar with. I want to say this is another kind of shy shark. 7-gill sharks, really big around these divers. Very cool. Pajama sharks. Another shy shark, nestled between these starfish. It's so cool. I'll just look at a couple more. There's a leopard catshark again. Oh, that's so cool. Like looking at these blue sharks. And then one more of this little shy shark. So, really cool dive opportunity. Let's see. So leopard cat sharks. We'll learn a little bit more, and we'll pick next week's species. But this was a really fun pick. These gorgeous sharks are leopard cat sharks found in the waters off of South Africa. They get their name for their beautiful, widely variable skin patterns. There are 3 recognized marking configurations. Seen here is a typical pantherinum, which is made up of rosettes and broken lines. So, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful. The other 2 are considered extreme colorations of a gradient of spot sizes. Oh, and that's it. So, pretty much the same information we got earlier, so we'll kind of keep looking for info. For IUCN Red List, leopard cat sharks are, again, least concern, so they're doing okay, and this is their range. So, exclusively South African, so really cool to see a shark that is only endemic to this area. Genus Poroderma, family Skinoranidae, so the classic cat shark family. Let's see, for the assessment, the leopard cat shark is a small cat shark endemic to South Africa and Southeast Atlantic and Western Indian Oceans from Saldanha Bay, Western Cape to KwaZulu-Natal. The species inhabits the continental shelf and upper slope on rocky substrate, kelp beds, and sandy areas to a depth of 274 meters, though its preference is for shallow, rocky habitat to 20 meters deep. Little is known of its biology, but it may be highly fecund if similar to its congener, the pajama shark, which lays pairs of eggs cases year-round. So, meaning this shark and the pajama shark both mate year-round and lay eggs year-round. So they are very productive, which is great. It's really a wonderful sight to see a shark that is actually doing really well and reproducing comparatively very quickly, because as we know, most sharks take a very long time to grow and a long time to reproduce, and that's part of their plight, is that kind of survival strategy doesn't work against enormous fishing pressure. So it's really cool to see that the leopard cat shark is actually doing pretty okay, and part of it is it's very prolific. It lays a lot of eggs, and it's comparatively okay. The leopard cat shark is a bycatch of longline, gillnet, beach seine, trawl, and commercial and recreational line fisheries, and is used in the aquarium trade. Trend analysis of angler surveys in the De Hoop Marine Protected Area estimated a population increase of 267% over the past 3 generation lengths. This shark was among the most abundant observed in baited remote underwater video surveys in False Bay and Stilby in 2011 and 2012 respectively. Overall, the leopard cat shark is common within its range. The population size is suspected to be increasing over the past 3 generation lengths. It is prohibited from retention in commercial line fisheries and is assessed as least concern. I think this is the first. We may have had one more, but I think this is one of the first sharks, if not the first, where we see an increase. It is certainly the first shark we've seen an increase by a factor of 100%, like over 100%. 200%. 267% increase of the shark species. That's amazing. And that's much needed good news as far as, a lot of the sharks that we've covered, I mean, we know that they're not doing well, but it's so cool to see this one is actually okay. I would love to learn more about the population, so here we go. No estimates of population size. Population trend data of standardized catch per unit effort for 1996 to 2017 were available from the De Hoop Marine Protected Area shore-based research angling surveys conducted by South African Department of Environmental Affairs. Analysis yields an annual rate of change, median rate of change. The trend analysis revealed an annual rate of increase of 3.3%, consistent with an estimated median increase of 266.8% over the past 3 generation lengths, with the highest probability of an increase over the past 3 generation lengths. The De Hoop MPA was established in 1985 and is a no-take reserve, and the population trend is indicative only and may not be representative of the trends in fished areas of South Africa. However, there is currently no other data available to assess population trends. Historical data from 1980 to 1990s indicate that this cat shark was a common species in the Port Elizabeth region. The leopard cat shark is common across its range, although it is now absent from some areas where it was previously abundant. It was among the most abundant chondrichthyans observed in beta remote underwater video surveys in False Bay and Stillby in 2011-2012 respectively. Overall, the population is suspected to be increasing over the past 3 generation lengths, and the species is not suspected to be close to reaching population decline threshold. Catches should be monitored across its range to ensure there is no increase in extinction risk. It's super interesting. I would love to learn more about this. D-Hoop MPA. So let's see if we can find that. D-Hoop Marine Protected Area. I'm gonna check a couple different places to see what we can see. D-Hoop is one of the largest natural areas managed by Cape Nature. Whoops. Whoop. Alright, so we're going into this full screen mode. Perfect. I wanted to just kind of learn more about this environment. So, looks like the water is quite clear. It's so cool to see a mix of like this beautiful sandy slope and a rocky shore. Oh wow, so we've got some zebra. That looks like a right whale. It's unbelievable to see that. Right whales are really very, at least the northern right whale is a critically endangered species. I'm not sure about southern right whales, but it's always a treat to see right whales. What a place. So, clearly incredible wildlife here in this marine protected area, and this is the area that population studies were done for the leopard cat shark, ascertaining that it's actually increasing in abundance, which is so cool. It's one of the very few sharks we've... honestly, I think there's only been one more where we've seen a population increase. These birds are interesting. These look like oyster catchers. Man, what a geography. You could see like how, well, you could see like how the ocean was hollowing out the rocks. Looks like a egret. Nice sandy shoreline. Oh wow, the right whales are so beautiful. Look at that. That is such a treat. I'm just so used to those being so rare. That's such a treat to see them. Lovely clear water around a rocky shore. An octopus. Great shot of an octopus. Nice underwater shot of one. Oh man, what a seascape. Oh, a little pelican. Gorgeous coastline here. It's amazing to think that this is what the leopard cat shark calls home. Is this just this beautiful, you know, pristine place. Oh, an ostrich! Look at that. And are those flamingos? Which is really funny. I was not expecting to see flamingos after talking about them. More footage of right whales. So cool. I guess this bird is very important. I'm not sure what this is, but... Oh, there we go. So cool. Beautiful stuff. Let's make sure... Let's see. We'll kind of read a little bit more info. It's actually almost 10:30, so please let me know in the chat if there's anything, any shark that in particular you'd like to cover next week. We did have a rough shark in mind, and I want to say it was the Japanese rough shark. And I forget, I think it was Quackers who suggested the Japanese rough shark. So it's Oxynotus japonicus. So that, for Quackers representation, I will put that in there. But if anyone has a request, please let me know, and we can consider that as well. But Japanese rough shark. Alright, there we go. Let's see. So D-Hoop Marine Protected Area is located adjacent to the D-Hoop Nature Reserve between the coastal town of Arniston and the Breed River mouth on the South African east coast. 51 kilometers in length, stretching 5 nautical miles out to sea. So lovely, pretty huge area. The entire MPA is a restricted zone, no-take area, and forms part of the very important migratory route and calving area for southern right whales. The MPA provides protected habitats for close inshore fish species like Gaujuin, I don't know how to pronounce that, Gaujuin, Dassie, blacktail, black mussel cracker, or Poenscop, white mussel cracker, and Wildiperd. It plays a vital role in ensuring marine biomass in this coastal area that would otherwise be fished to the same levels as the rest of the adjacent coastal areas. The MPA is connected to the Cape Nature managed D-Hoop Nature Reserve. The limestone coastline is rich in history with archaeological sites and middens that date back centuries. The large rock pools in the MPA are accessible to the public for snorkeling, where they will be able to observe many fish species, marine habitats, organisms, and plant life. The D-Hoop MPA borders the Breed River estuary, and although not part of the MPA, the two interact in many ways, like providing protection for species like cob, or cabeljum, that breed in the estuary and then return to the ocean where the MPA provides protection. So, really cool area. Lovely photo of a right whale. Look at that. Want to read the objectives. To conserve the representative biodiversity of D-Hoop National Refuge and MPA with particular emphasis on local endemic and threatened species. To implement the integrated management of the terrestrial marine component of the DHNRC. To ensure integrated, cooperative, and compliant management, including partnerships. To conserve, maintain the ecosystems and its processes. To conserve the cultural heritage within. To promote and enable conservation orientation research within. To provide quality environmental education, awareness, and outreach programs to the youth via the Cape Nature's People and Conservation Program. To provide biodiversity access and benefit sharing opportunities for communities. And then to provide for appropriate nature-based recreation, tourism, and sustainable income generation activities within the framework of the green economy. So cool. Oh man, look at that. Beautiful shot of a right whale. And you can actually see, right whales have such a unique head shape too, where it's like their upper jaw fits within their lower jaw, like their lower jaw surrounds the upper jaw. Right whales are also really cool, where they have these like white patches. I believe these are called calocytes, which they're, in a weird way, they're an equivalent to, they're grown in the same area. Like someone did a genetic study where they compared the location of calocytes in right whales to the location of hair and beards in human males, and they grow in the same areas. Like there's an analog between human males and the location of like where the genes function to create hair, and right whales where the genes function to create these patches of skin. They're kind of sensitive And the calcites are a mix of, they're not really growth from the whale. They're sensitive skin that kind of create this environment for parasites, or it's like this weird mix of like parasites that create the calcites for the whale itself. So it's a unique pattern, though. It's symmetrical on both sides, and it is actually something linked to, analogous to hair and or beard hair and human males. So it's so interesting. And this is a great shot of like the baleen in the upper jaw too. So it's such a really cool picture. Love that they have a sand tiger shark, also known as a ragged-tooth shark, so patrolling this area. School of fish. Nice mussel bed here. Beautiful shot of a ray. Look at that. Not sure what species this is, but it's such an amazing like above and below water shot of a ray coming so close to shore. Very cool. And then a couple more photographs, and then we'll go back to, we'll kind of conclude the night with leopard catshark research, but just wanted to show more about kind of like the colors and the creatures of this area for which the leopard catshark calls home. Okay. So we didn't take a look at fish base. I don't think there will be any new information, but just in case, the Greek name, the Latin name for leopard catsharks is Poroderma pantherinum. So Poroderma means skin with holes. So illusion, not explained nor evident. But poros means hole or passage. Derma means skin or hide. So I'm assuming that refers to the spots, but I'm not sure. Pantherinum is Latin for leopard-like, referring to its variable leopard-like spots, stripes, and blotches. So pretty on-the-nose scientific name. Fishbase is reiterating that there's 3 morphs of the leopard catshark. And I think we'll check out sharkreferences.com. Interesting, this is so interesting. Photograph of a embryo of a leopard catshark. So this shark again is an egg-laying species. So inside the egg capsule, the pups will have an egg yolk that they will fully absorb until they are fully grown, and then they hatch from their egg capsules and swim as fully functional free-swimming sharks, so no parental care at all. They are ready to hunt the minute they are born. English names, I think we saw these before, the barbel catshark, black-spotted catshark, leopard catshark, and then Elitan leopardo is a fun Spanish name. I really like that name, actually. So usually sharkreferences.com has photographs of teeth. This is interesting where there's a series on embryonic development. So we'll start with this because this is actually really rare. We don't really get to see this. So this is a cross section of an egg case that is partially open, and this individual was photographed in the series. So this individual is okay. But this is the inside of a shark egg. So you can see a very large yolk and then a connection to the developing shark. You can actually see the bright red gills. So that's the oxygen in the gills. You can see an eye spot. You can see actually relative to the embryo body size how tough the egg case is and how thick it is and how protected the shark is. As it gets larger in this cross section, you can still see the connection to the yolk, but much more musculature at this stage. The eyes are much more developed here. The mouth is starting to develop not starting. It's much more developed. Still has a way to go. It's a very, very small little guy. tendrils on the egg cases help anchor the egg to the seabed, so those tendrils intentionally get caught in fronds of kelp or kind of rocks or anything that it can snag on to help anchor it, so that the eggs don't drift away in the strong currents. Here's a later stage development where the cat shark is almost fully developed. It still has quite a bit of yolk to consume, but you can actually see, it's actually interesting to see a dermal line on the back here. These look like actually pretty prominent dermal denticles, like these two parallel ridges of dermal denticles on the back, which is interesting to see. The dorsal fin, the fins are very translucent looking at this stage. There is pigmentation, so you start to see coloration. And then here's an underside of the same cat shark. You can actually see his little nasal barbels, the snout with the nostrils. You can actually start to see the pores of the Ampullae lorenzini. So these are the electrosensing pores that help the shark detect the electric fields around its environment. And then that's just a drawing of a fully grown individual. But eventually, at the final stage, it will turn into this magnificent creature. So it's so cool to see, the full development of this species of shark, just hatching from an egg into a fully formed shark, and slowly as time goes on and as it continues to hunt successfully, it puts on a little bit more girth. I think Andy had a photograph of a smaller individual that probably was closer to this one. So this guy looks a little, or girl, sorry, this girl looks a little bit smaller, but this is probably closer. This probably is not a young of the year, but still a relatively young individual, just based on the body size and the proportion of everything. But still, it's really kind of cool to see. Once the egg hatches, it will look something like this. So I want to see if there's any cool papers on the shark specifically that we could take a look at before we end for tonight. So, Poroderma. Let's see, mitochondrial genome. Oh, this is great. Patterns of egg deposition and egg development. I would like to read that. Let's see. Patterns of egg deposition and egg development in the cat sharks Poroderma, pantherinum, and Haploblepharus pictus. Here we go. So 2 different cat sharks. And I guess the journal is African Zoology. Let's see. Patterns of egg deposition and rates of egg development were examined for 2 endemic South African scalerinid shark species, Poroderma pantherinum, the leopard cat shark, and Haploblepharus pictus, the dark shy shark. The leopard cat shark laid their eggs at an average depth of 19 meters. Minimum depth was 7.4 meters, max was 27 meters. Preferentially attaching their eggs singly into sea fans, Leptogorgia palma, Unicella papulosa, and Unicella tricoronata. The dark shy shark laid their eggs at an average depth of 3 meters, min 1 meter, max 31 meters. They attach their eggs predominantly in pairs to the seaweed Bifurcariopsis. Bifurcariopsis capensis. The average temperature at which eggs were found were similar, 15 degrees Celsius, and eggs were laid year-round. So it's kind of cool that the dark shy shark lays its eggs in shallower water than the leopard cat shark. Leopard cat shark tends to lay its eggs in deeper water. It's pretty interesting. Embryo development was observed. One second. Okay. Embryo development was observed in a laboratory under constant controlled environmental conditions of 14 and 17 degrees Celsius. Embryo length-age relationships were linear for both species, and there are significant differences in growth rate at the 2 temperatures. For the leopard cat shark, average growth rate was about 0.37 millimeters a day at 14 degrees Celsius and 0.79 millimeters a day at 17 degrees Celsius. So that's actually cool. The warmer the water, the faster the shark grows. The average incubation period is 266 days at 14 degrees Celsius and 125 days at 70 degrees Celsius. So that's wilder too. The warmer the water, the more quickly the shark grows. So I think what the study is getting at is, since you're in a temperate zone, you're going to have variations from year to year in water temperature. As far as and not just the seasonal variations, but also some years are different. Some years have a higher average temperature, some years have a lower average temperature, and from there you can kind of get an estimate of recruitment. You can kind of have an idea of how is this going to be a good year for cat sharks, or is this going to be a not so good year. In the Chesapeake Bay where I am, they do that for drums and croakers specifically, where you can do counts of larval croaker and relate the plankton counts of larval croaker to the water temperature, and you can kind of guess how good or bad croaker are going to do for a year depending on the water temperature of that year. So if it's a really cold winter, it's going to be a really bad year for croaker. If it's a warm winter, you're probably going to have a lot of croaker, and that has a huge impact on the fisheries, where it determines how much or little we could fish for that species. It's related as far as the water temperature and the development. So I know for the cat shark, it's not a commercially fished species, so that's good. It's not really a species that people take, but there's still an interesting relationship between how quickly and large it grows in how water temperature influence the speed of growth and the size of or the speed I guess speed of growth, so and the size it can attain. So it's really interesting. So colder waters not so good for this cat shark. Warmer waters are really great for the cat shark's development. Embryos thus grew 2 times faster, and development time was 53% shorter when the temperature was raised by only 3 degrees Celsius. For the dark shy shark, the average growth rate was 0.49 millimeters a day at 14 degrees and 0.78 millimeters a day at 17 degrees. The incubation period was 242 days at 40 degrees and 190 days at 70 degrees. The embryos thus grew 1.6 times faster, and incubation time was 21.5% shorter when the temperature was raised by only 3 degrees. So, very cool stuff. I wonder if we can we get into more details? No figures with this article. Can we check out the PDF? We may not be able to. We have to log in, so we'll check out a different study, but that was really cool. Let's see. These are not available. This is IUCN. I might take a look at this genome study, but if it's kind of really in the weeds, might end a little early tonight. Let's see, the complete mitochondrial genome and phylogenetic position of leopard cat shark, Poroderma pantherinum. Let's see, so we present the mitochondrial genome of the South African endemic cat shark, Poroderma pantherinum. The complete mitogenome is 16,686 base pairs in length. We don't need to go into the details. Just want to see if there's anything new. Phylogenetic analysis of the leopard cat shark and 34 carcharodont species show that it clusters with 2 other scalerodont species, Cephaloscalium umbertile, which is a swell shark, and Scalerodonts canicula, with 100% support. Let's see. I'm just going to kind of skim through this. I think we might end a little early tonight. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's actually kind of interesting. Show me this, is it? Okay. So here's a phylogenetic tree showing how the leopard cat shark relates to all these other species. So it's kind of interesting, but it looks like all these genetic samples are from sharks are in completely different groups. So So you have the leopard catshark, closely related to Scalerinus canicula, which is, I really should know that species. I think that's the one in Britain, but it is a very well-known catshark species. And then Cephaloscalium is a swell shark, so it makes sense they're all closely related. The outliers are a salmon shark. Yeah, salmon shark, Lambda ditropus, which is very easy to be an outlier. And then another kind of cat shark, but mostly false cat sharks, hammerhead sharks, blue sharks, dusky shark, oceanic white tip. All the requiem sharks are here. Well, not all of them, but most of them are here. So, kind of not that exciting of a tree. And, yeah, not much information on that. So, let's see if there's any other papers before we call it a night. But even so, it was a really cool species to study, especially with the three color patterns. That was a lot of fun to see. So, let's see. This one actually might be kind of cool. So we'll check this out, and then I think we'll call it. But this is a study on predator avoidance. There we go. Predator avoidance by mesopredatory benthic sharks in response to potential predators in a natural environment. So here we go. Okay. Some benthic elasmobranch mesopredators utilize crypsis to avoid predation by higher trophic predators. While this ability has been documented in various elasmobranchs such as rays, cryptic behavior has been scarcely documented in cat sharks. Freezing behavior by leopard cat sharks and shy sharks in response to sightings of a smoothhound shark and Cape fur seals was recorded during 4 separate baited remote underwater video survey deployments near Gansbaai, South Africa. Okay, so I'm glad we clicked on this. That is super cool. Cat sharks were seen actively swimming, foraging most of the time, and occasionally resting on the bottom, showing active buccal pumping. In the presence of a potential predator, they rapidly ceased all movement, including decreased gill movement, and immediately sank to the bottom. This response was initiated only when the predator swam into visual range of the cat shark, and thus the freezing behavior seems to be induced by visual cues only. The freezing behavior is suggested to complement the color pattern of the species in camouflage. This finding of predator avoidance behavior in cat sharks may inspire future research on predator recognition and avoidance to gain further insight into sharks' predator-prey behavior. So that is the coolest thing ever. And it's also really fascinating and a little, I don't want to say perplexing, but I wonder, like, sharks can famously detect electromagnetic fields and vibrations in the water. So I guess, so at first I was like, well, if a hound shark was close enough, it could probably still detect a cat shark even if it wasn't moving. However, I wonder, now that I'm kind of saying this out loud, I wonder if the cat shark sees a hound shark from far away and freezes, it helps avoid the hound shark from getting closer. Like, it helps blend into the surrounding environment. And if it freezes, it's not going to make vibrations in the water, so the hound shark can't feel it. So that's actually really cool as a defense mechanism. And it's so, I don't think I've seen this in other shark species as far as this kind of behavior. I think this is the first time I've heard of this freezing behavior with sharks. So that is so cool. Like, I've heard of shy sharks, of course, covering their eyes with their tail fins, but as far as an actual freezing response, never heard of that before. So very, very cool stuff. Let's see. So we won't read the whole thing, of course, but just want to see some visuals. Oh, this is cool. So we got the shy shark right here. I recognize the species just because the saddles, I feel like that kind of, and the orange color, that kind of gives it away. We got the leopard catshark here, the pajama shark, and then here's the potential predators: a smooth hound, a soup fin shark, a ragged-tooth shark or sand tiger, the bronze whaler, seven-gill shark, and a Cape fur seal. Man, that is so cool. I want to see if there's any photographs of this. Oh, perfect, yeah. Okay, so the cat shark is in red. So in figure A, he's kind of chilling near this beta remote underwater video survey. There's a smooth hound in white in figure B. In figure C, the cat shark just freezes and the smooth hound swims by it. And in figure D, the cat shark is just not moving at all. So reading how this was written, figure A, leopard catshark is foraging around the bait cluster. Figure B, the leopard catshark freezes upon seeing a smoothhound shark in the background. Figure C, the leopard catshark ends its freezing behavior as the smoothhound shark moves away. Figure D, the leopard catshark freezes again when the smoothhound passes for the second time. That's so cool. So A, it's just swimming around, enjoying the food. B, it freezes right here. C, it starts swimming around again, hoping to get another bite. And then D, it freezes because the smoothhound is getting too close to it. So cool. Alright. I'm going to just skim the discussion. I don't know if I have anything else to say. Huh. Wait a minute. Freezing behavior is not necessarily the sole predator avoidance strategy used by an animal in an encounter of a predator. It may also be used prior to a rapid escape. It is important to distinguish between freezing behavior and feigning death, as freezing is traditionally seen as an initial response to a stimulus, whereas feigning death is often used as a last resort. Opossums were shown to initiate freezing behavior following mild provocation and to feign death following vigorous tactile stimulation. During both types of responses, however, their heart and respiratory rates were significantly decreased. Freezing behavior is commonly defined as a strategy of immobility, often accompanied by bradycardia in other animal groups. The effectiveness of freezing behavior seen in mesopredatory sharks might benefit from being accompanied by bradycardia, as lower heart and respiratory rates could decrease the chance of detection by those predators able to sense heartbeats and muscle movements, such as through electroreception in some shark species. So that's exactly what I was talking about. That's really cool. This requires further investigation. The duration of freezing behavior may vary depending on the type and number of predators, the distance from the predator, and the speed at which it approaches. Additionally, the freezing responses likely complements the disruptive coloration to further enhance natural camouflage of shy sharks, utilizing the surrounding habitat, as seen with the shy sharks blending into the background habitat, such as the kelp in the second encounter and seagrass in the fourth encounter. While the body of the cat shark may move as a result of surge, despite the freezing behavior as seen in the first and second encounters, the rigidity of the body reduces the perception of a living animal and separates this behavior from normal resting behavior. The freezing response, in combination with a possible decrease in heart rate and gill movement, potentially reduces the risk of a cat shark being detected as prey, though fewer biometric stimuli detected by the smoothhound shark as may have occurred in the third encounter. Man, honestly, that's really cool, and I'm glad we picked at least one more paper to kind of just check out for the leopard catshark, because that is such a really cool fact that this shark will kind of freeze on sight and rely on its beautiful camouflage to help. So, and I think with that, we will end for tonight. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you tuning in for this stream. It was really fun to meet the leopard catshark and to see that there are 3 different color morphs, all of which are incredibly beautiful. I think it's agreed upon that our favorite is this one, the second morph. So this is just an incredibly intricate pattern, and I mean, all 3 again are very beautiful, but it's so cool to see that this one shark species comes in these 3 different flavors, and this one I think is probably our favorite. So, but really cool shark to learn. Glad that we got to see a lot of footage, and glad that we got to learn more about its environment in South Africa. and that we learned of a cool behavior, which is the freeze. So if the shark runs into a predator, it will freeze upon sight. It relies on its camouflage to get away. But anyway, hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and tune in for next week for the Japanese rough shark. This is going to be a really fun species. We'll go back into the depths and meet the swimming footballs, the swimming pyramids. They're a very unique group of sharks, and it will be fun to see. We've covered 2 species so far, but it'll be fun to meet another rough shark because each one is a little bit different, and each one just looks so unique and so bizarre relative to any other shark in the world. So that's going to be a fun one. Hope you guys can tune into it. But until then, hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you again soon for the Japanese... Well, nope, not that. Japanese rough shark. Hold on. Sorry, I had a movie list. Have a good night, guys. It's Monday.